This is Ministry of Sound, just round the corner from Elephant and Castle in South London. It's probably the UK's best-known club, and it's also the heart of a global music and entertainment empire which last year turned over £100 million. At lunchtime on a weekday, the club's massive speakers are, I'm pleased to say, silent. The Ministry's co-founder 20 years ago was James Palumbo, a merchant banker and the son of the millionaire property developer Peter Palumbo, though father and son fell out spectacularly and very publicly years ago when James sued his father for allegedly misappropriating money from a family trust. These days, James himself is a millionaire. He's still Ministry's chairman and he's an author. He's just published a satirical fantasy called Tancredi, his second novel. We went to his rather palatial flat in South Kensington to meet the author. James Palumbo, what kind of book is Tancredi?
Tancredi is part satire, part fairy tale, part science fiction. It's set in the world of the not too far distant future where mankind has become moronified. And at the beginning of the book, there is a star which mankind realizes is going to go supernova and destroy the universe. The book is about Tancredi traveling the universe, seeking to find a solution to its impending doom.
And it's a follow-up to your first book, which is called Thomas, and the BBC described that on its website as a biting satire in which the reluctant star of an absurdly lowbrow reality TV show goes on a killing spree, mowing down the grotesque patrons of an exclusive club in the French Riviera. And there's quite a lot of the grotesque in Tancredi as well, quite a lot of satire of things like, amongst other things, reality TV. Why did you decide to turn author this stage in your career?
I have been in business for 20 years, and after a period of time I felt it was right to move on, but I have to say my business, which is the music business, is very close in my mind to writing, the cadence of a musical piece, the cadence of a literary piece.
And how successfully do you think you've made that transition?
It's difficult because I don't know if success is my yardstick. I think I did it because I felt I wanted to. I had it in my system. There's no question that I learn as I go along. So my second book was a different writing experience to my first.
Because I ask because Thomas got mixed reactions, really. It came garlanded with sort of celebrity endorsements. Stephen Fry called it absolutely amazing. Rory Bremner said it was either mad or genius or both. Niall Ferguson, the historian, as grotesque as it's gripping. Not all the reviewers were as complimentary, and there was one who said it was a book with neither plot, point, intelligent wit, originality or elegance. How did you react when you read or heard that?
The killer reviews, the real killer reviews are, this book showed some promise, there were some passages which sparked some colour, but overall the sort of what you'd expect from a reasonably kindly schoolmaster. I didn't mind at all being eviscerated, because eliciting an extreme reaction in some ways is just as much a comment on the reviewer as the author.
Tancredi is a satire, and there's a lot of sort of politics in it. You're obviously not a fan of political correctness, you're not a fan of reality TV, you're not a fan of the entire profession of psychiatry. You seem to have a soft spot for Joe Stalin. What should we deduce about your politics from?
I don't have a soft spot for Joe Stalin. The point about Stalin was to show how a forceful dictator in history can come along and so influence a seemingly good middle-of-the-road politician that they turn bad. My politics are relatively unformed. I tend to feel very strongly about some things in a left-wing sense, but equally I have some views which I would broadly be characterised as right-wing. But in the book, what really interests me is this tension between, if you're an idealist in politics, you risk oblivion, and yet if you're a pragmatist, which involves having to compromise, what's the point? Is it just to say, well, once I was the leader or once I was in power, when people are no longer interested? But I think I can and would like to be involved in politics in relation to marketing and operations and areas where I have expertise and can actually bring what I've built up over the years.
Have you done that in the past?
To political parties, yes. I mean, I've supported them all, but in various practical ways. I'm not a sort of giver of blank cheques. You know, I want to dig in on marketing, or I want to dig in on a campaign, or I want to dig in on a particular area where I can bring my expertise.
And if you were to dig in with one particular party, which one would you throw your lot in with?
It's the Lib Dems.
You have had a very interesting life. One reads the profiles. You went to Eton, where you're credited with having abolished fagging and getting people expelled for growing cannabis. You drove a red Ferrari at Oxford. You went into merchant banking. You founded Ministry of Sound, co-founded it. You had a spectacular falling out with your father, who you accused of taking millions out of a trust fund. It seems to me that the book you really ought to be writing is your autobiography.
Well, to a large extent, writing is autobiographical, isn't it? I actually don't think that driving around red Ferraris or being the city is as interesting a subject matter as, for example, in Thomas, when I was talking about bankers, or parts of my current book, Tancredi, which you have to touch on my experience and my views.
James Palumbo, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.